Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. Silence isn't empty, it's full of unspoken truths waiting for the right moment to be unleashed. A Sigma male is not just a man of few words, he's a man of deliberate words. In a world that often rewards noise over substance, your silence is your strength. It's not weakness or avoidance, it's strategy. You observe, reflect, and understand what others rush to overlook. And when you finally choose to speak, it's not for validation or attention, it's because the moment demands truth. This video is for every Sigma male who has ever felt misunderstood or underestimated. Your quiet nature holds power that others can't comprehend until you break your silence. When you do, you shift the dynamic, challenge the status quo, and make people listen, not just to your voice, but to the weight of your words. Watch this to understand the full potential of your voice and the impact you create when you step out of the shadows. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs your clarity. It's time to show them what happens when you decide to speak. Let's get started, brothers. Number 1, he demolishes fake authority. When a Sigma male decides to challenge authority, he doesn't do it for attention or rebellion's sake. He does it because he sees through the facade. To him, authority isn't inherently worthy of respect. It must earn it through competence, integrity, and wisdom. If it falls short, he feels no obligation to stay silent. His words cut through the veneer of power, exposing the weaknesses and falsehoods of those in charge. What makes his approach so effective is that he doesn't challenge authority emotionally or impulsively. He doesn't shout or rant. He observes, gathers facts, and then delivers his insights with calm, calculated precision. He dismantles the illusion of leadership piece by piece, laying bare the incompetence or corruption hiding behind the title. Those who blindly followed these so-called leaders are left questioning everything they believed. He isn't intimidated by status, titles, or popularity. To a Sigma male, these are just symbols, empty, unless backed by real capability and value. He measures people by their actions, not their positions. And when a leader fails to meet those standards, he doesn't hesitate to call it out. The unmasking is so thorough, so undeniable, that even the most loyal followers struggle to defend what's been revealed. The most striking part, he doesn't seek to take over or seize power for himself. He's not interested in becoming the next leader. His only goal is truth and accountability. By speaking out, he forces systems to confront their flaws and people to question their loyalty. Once he's spoken, the authority that once seemed untouchable crumbles, leaving behind only the reality of what it truly was. And in that moment, everyone realizes the weight of his voice and the strength of his conviction. Number 2, he wields words like weapons. When a Sigma male speaks, his words are never wasted. Each one is carefully chosen, stripped of fluff, and delivered with precision. Unlike those who speak to fill silence or seek validation, he uses language as a tool, a weapon sharpened by thought and observation. His ability to cut through the noise is unmatched, not because he's loud, but because he's deliberate. He doesn't engage in verbal sparring for the sake of it. He speaks to end debates, to drive a point home so thoroughly that there's no room left for rebuttal. What sets him apart is his uncanny sense of timing. He doesn't jump into conversations prematurely or waste energy defending himself against empty criticisms. Instead, he waits, letting others exhaust their arguments and expose their weaknesses. And then, when the moment is right, he delivers his response, a precise, devastating blow that leaves no doubts. It's not about winning for him, it's about clarity, truth, and moving forward without unnecessary clutter. His mastery of words often leaves others stunned, not just because of what he says, but how he says it. There's no need for theatrics or emotional outbursts. His calm and collected delivery makes his points even more powerful. People can't ignore him because his words hit where it matters, stripping away pretense, ego, and noise. His vocabulary becomes an arsenal, not of complex jargon, but of clarity, simplicity, and power. And once he's spoken, the room feels different. Conversations shift, opinions waver, and egos deflate. He doesn't need to keep speaking to prove his point. His silence that follows becomes just as impactful, as if daring anyone to try and match the weight of what he's just said. Few ever do. Number 3, people start questioning their own beliefs. When a Sigma male speaks, he doesn't just add to the noise, he cuts straight through it. His silence has been spent observing, analyzing, and understanding the deeper currents beneath surface-level interactions. So when he finally shares his thoughts, his words aren't casual, they're sharp, deliberate, and thought-provoking. They hit people where it matters most, their beliefs. What makes his insights so unsettling is how effortlessly they dismantle the things people cling to. He questions what others accept as normal, exposing the cracks in their logic and the blind spots in their worldview. It's not confrontational or hostile, it's just raw, unfiltered truth. And because he speaks with conviction and clarity, it's hard to dismiss him. His observations have a way of lingering in the minds of those who hear them. Long after the conversation has ended, his perspective forces people to confront uncomfortable questions. Why do I believe what I believe? Are my values truly my own, or have they been handed to me by someone else? Am I living authentically, or just following the script society gave me? Most people spend their lives avoiding these questions, but a Sigma male's words make them impossible to ignore. He doesn't preach or argue. He simply reveals the disconnect between what people say they believe and how they actually live, and in doing so, he creates a ripple effect, shifting perspectives, challenging assumptions, and leaving people deep in self-reflection. His ability to spark this kind of introspection is what sets him apart. He doesn't seek to change people, but his words often do because they make you see yourself and the world in a way you never have before. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 4, he destroys social facades without trying. When a Sigma male speaks, he doesn't just join a conversation, he redefines it. His silence has given him the time to study people, systems, and the unspoken rules that guide them. So when he finally decides to break that silence, it's not with empty words, but with observations so sharp they cut through the surface of society's pretenses. Without effort or intention to please, his words strike a nerve, peeling back the layers of hypocrisy most are too scared to address. The Sigma male isn't concerned with maintaining appearances or fitting into the mold society has crafted for him. He doesn't speak to gain approval or align with popular opinion. He speaks because the truth demands it. He effortlessly dissects the lies people tell themselves and each other, whether it's the illusion of success, the performative nature of morality, or the shallow motivations behind social hierarchies. His observations often feel like a mirror held up to the world, reflecting uncomfortable truths that people can no longer ignore. What makes this even more intriguing is the way he does it. There's no arrogance, no need to dominate or humiliate. His delivery is calm, matter-of-fact, and all the more impactful because of it. Those who hear him are left unsettled, not because he's trying to provoke, but because they know he's right. His words stay with them long after the conversation ends, forcing them to confront their own beliefs and behaviors. In a world built on facades, the Sigma male's voice is a reckoning, a quiet, unrelenting force that reveals the cracks in the foundation. His silence was his preparation, and his words are the result. Pure, unfiltered truth that challenges everything we thought we knew. Number 5, he makes his critics look foolish. When a Sigma male addresses his critics, he doesn't rush to defend himself or engage in pointless back and forths. Instead, he listens, observes, and allows them to expose their own weaknesses. His silence isn't passivity, it's strategy. By the time he responds, he has already deconstructed their arguments in his mind, isolating the flaws and inconsistencies. And when he speaks, his words are so precise and logical that they leave his critics scrambling to recover. What makes his approach so devastating is his lack of emotional entanglement. He doesn't raise his voice, insult, or react defensively. Instead, he remains calm, composed, and relentlessly factual. His ability to separate emotion from logic makes his arguments unassailable. He doesn't rely on charisma or manipulation to win. He lets the truth speak for itself. For those who attack him, it's a frustrating and humbling experience. While they may come armed with assumptions, emotional appeals, or hollow accusations, the Sigma male simply doesn't engage on those terms. He picks apart their claims with such precision that they're left floundering, unable to back up their own positions. Every word he uses feels intentional, every point irrefutable, leaving no room for counterattacks. His critics often enter the exchange feeling confident, only to walk away exposed, not because he aimed to humiliate them, but because their arguments simply couldn't withstand his logic. His mastery of debate lies in his ability to keep it clean, unemotional, and focused on substance. The result? His critics end up looking foolish, not because he sought to embarrass them, but because he let their own shortcomings do the work for him. It's not a battle of egos, it's a quiet, methodical display of intellectual dominance. Number 6, people realize they've underestimated him. When a Sigma male remains silent, people often mistake it for disinterest, weakness, or lack of ability. They assume he's passive or unremarkable, someone they can ignore or outmaneuver. This illusion of control emboldens them, allowing their egos to grow unchecked. But the Sigma male is never idle. His silence is a weapon, quietly observing, analyzing, and preparing. And when he finally speaks, it's as if the entire narrative shifts. His words aren't loud or overly dramatic, but they carry a weight that silences the room. Every sentence is precise, every point backed by a depth of understanding no one expected. In those moments, the quiet man they dismissed becomes the most dominant presence in the space. It's not just his intelligence that stands out, it's the way he connects. Dots others didn't even see, unraveling problems with clarity and confidence. The revelation is humbling. Those who once looked down on him are left scrambling to recalibrate their perceptions. They realize they've been speaking to someone who not only sees the bigger picture, but understands it better than they ever could. The contrast between their assumptions and the reality of his intellect is jarring, forcing them to confront their own blind spots. It's not his goal to prove anyone wrong or make them feel small. The Sigma male doesn't speak to dominate, he speaks to deliver truth. But his insight, depth, and the sheer force of his presence leave no room for doubt. In that moment, people are left questioning how they missed the quiet strength sitting in front of them all along, and they never underestimate him again. Number 7, he reveals the depths of his observations. When a Sigma male speaks, it becomes immediately clear that his silence was anything but idle. While others were talking, posturing, or seeking attention, he was absorbing everything: words, actions, patterns, and even the subtle dynamics most people overlook. Every glance, every pause, every shift in tone or body language has been meticulously catalogued in his mind. And when he finally chooses to break his silence, it's like unlocking a vault of insights that no one saw coming. His words are not just observations, they're revelations. He connects dots others didn't even realize existed, unveiling layers of meaning buried beneath the surface. People often feel as though he's reading their minds, but he's not. He's simply been paying attention in ways they haven't. His understanding of human behavior, psychology, and strategy isn't theoretical. It's honed from years of watching, analyzing, and learning without the need to broadcast it. What makes his observations so impactful is the way he delivers them. There's no arrogance, no need to flaunt his knowledge. Instead, his tone is calm and assured, making his insights all the more powerful. He doesn't just state the obvious. He dives into the unspoken truths, the motives and patterns that others miss entirely. In those moments, the room shifts. People realize they've been operating at surface level while he's been navigating the depths. His words don't just inform, they transform, leaving others in awe of how much they've overlooked. He doesn't just see the bigger picture, he sees every thread that holds it together, and once he speaks, no one sees the world the same way again. Number 8. He provokes a shift in power dynamics. When a Sigma male speaks, he doesn't demand authority, it's naturally given to him. His calm yet confident presence exudes a quiet dominance that disrupts the established power dynamics. In any group where alphas often rely on loudness and control to maintain their position, the Sigma male's understated yet undeniable influence changes everything. He doesn't play by the same rules as the alpha, and that alone unsettles those accustomed to leading through force or charisma. His words carry weight because they are rooted in authenticity, logic, and a deep understanding of the situation. While the alpha may seek control through dominance and posturing, the Sigma male offers clarity and direction without needing to overpower anyone. This stark contrast makes people question their loyalty to the existing hierarchy. They start to see that leadership isn't about volume or aggression, it's about substance and vision. The alpha, accustomed to being unchallenged, often finds their position threatened, not by a direct confrontation, but by the Sigma male's sheer presence and undeniable impact. People instinctively gravitate toward him, not because he demands their attention, but because he earns their respect. His authenticity stands in sharp contrast to the performative nature of traditional power structures, making others reevaluate who they choose to follow. The shift is subtle but permanent. Once the Sigma male has spoken, the group dynamic changes. The alpha's control weakens and the group starts to reorganize around a new center of influence. The Sigma male doesn't seek power, but it finds him nonetheless, because in a world of pretenders, his quiet strength is impossible to ignore. Number 9, he creates allies without trying. A Sigma male doesn't aim to win people over, but somehow he does. His authenticity, depth, and refusal to conform make him stand out in a world saturated with pretense. When he speaks, his words resonate with those who feel unseen, misunderstood, or tired of the superficiality that dominates most interactions. He doesn't speak to please or gain approval, yet his raw honesty strikes a chord in ways others can't replicate. People gravitate toward him not because he panders to their feelings, but because he validates their thoughts without even trying. He doesn't offer empty encouragement or shallow affirmations. Instead, he speaks with depth and understanding, voicing truths that others may have been too afraid to admit to themselves. His independence and self-assuredness inspire others to embrace their own individuality, creating a sense of connection that feels genuine and earned. The allies he gains aren't followers seeking a leader, they're like-minded individuals drawn to his clarity and strength of character. They trust him, not because he demands it, but because he exudes an authenticity that's rare. His ability to speak without agendas or ulterior motives makes people feel safe in his presence. They know that what he says comes from a place of integrity, and that makes his influence even more powerful. Without seeking it, the Sigma male builds a network of loyalty that's built on mutual respect and shared values. Those who align with him do so because they see in him what they aspire to see in themselves: honesty, strength, and an unshakable sense of purpose. He doesn't have to ask for their loyalty. It's freely given. Number 10, he challenges the comfort zones of others. When a Sigma male speaks, he doesn't just stir the pot, he cracks it open. His silence is an invitation to observe, to let others believe they understand him, but it's when he finally speaks that everything shifts. His words aren't just commentary, they're revelations that challenge everything people thought they knew about themselves and the world around them. While others quietly exist in their comfort zones, avoiding uncomfortable truths, he brings them into the light with unflinching honesty. People get used to living in a bubble of half-truths and distractions, staying within safe, familiar spaces because it's easier than facing the uncomfortable or confronting the things they'd rather ignore. The Sigma male doesn't let them stay there. When he speaks, he brings forth the very things people have been avoiding: unspoken fears, missed opportunities, and the uncomfortable gaps between their beliefs and their actions. His words are like a hammer, shattering the walls of complacency that people have carefully built around themselves. He doesn't do this out of malice or a desire to provoke. It's simply a reflection of who he is. He's not afraid to confront the tough realities, and his presence forces others to do the same. His ability to make people face what they've been running from is a quiet, powerful influence. Those who are ready for change feel the pull of his truth, and they begin to see their own potential for growth. For those stuck in their comfort zones, the Sigma male's words don't just challenge their current mindset. They offer a new path forward, one that requires courage, self-reflection, and the willingness to embrace discomfort for the sake of progress. As I wrap up, when a Sigma male breaks his silence, it's more than just words, it's a moment of revelation. He's not speaking to fit in or prove anything. He's speaking to express the truths he's spent time understanding, to bring clarity where there was once confusion. His silence has been spent observing, thinking, and sharpening his insights. And when the moment comes, he speaks with a purpose that others can't ignore. If you identify with the Sigma male, understand that this ability to stay silent and then speak with power is something few can achieve. It's not about isolation or being misunderstood. It's about finding your own voice in a world that constantly tries to drown out individuality. You are someone who values depth over distractions, authenticity over validation, and truth over noise. This is your strength, your ability to remain composed, to let the world rush around you while you take the time to understand it. Your words, when you choose to speak, carry weight because they come from experience, reflection, and inner clarity. Don't let anyone make you feel like your quiet nature is a flaw. It's a gift. So when you do decide to speak, don't hold back. Your insight has the power to reshape the way others see the world and, most importantly, how they see themselves. Keep trusting in your own voice and know that when you speak, the world will listen, not because you're forcing them to, but because your words are a force of their own. Thank you for watching. See you in our next video. God bless you.